Breaking news, California Dream for All just released their guidelines. I am super excited because it means that the product is official. It is live, it is coming, and we have the rules. I've done a cursory review of the rules, and it gives me some really good clarification on a lot of questions that people were asking, and I wanted to get this information out to you as quickly as I possibly could. So the first thing I want to tell you is you absolutely have to get pre-approved by a CalHFA approved lender, such as me, and you have to submit that pre-approval letter into the portal to get registered. So you need to start now on the application process because we need to know that you are qualified, and if there's any issues getting you qualified, we have to figure that out before the portal opens. They have not given us an opening date for the portal, but we do have to get that figured out. So right up here, you can see a QR code. That is how you're going to start the home buying process. So you're going to go to my website, johnloneking.com. You're going to click on Start the Application Process in the top corner. You're going to fill in all of your information so that we can get started in making sure that you are approved so that you can get put into the portal when the portal opens. They've released income limits. They've released the rules on first-generation home buyer, and I'm going to go through some of that with you right now. So first of all, let me pull up my screen here and show you the specifics of what the rules are. So let me get that pulled up. Okay, so first and foremost, and I think you can make that. There you go, perfect. All right, so this is the rules that were just released, and it looks like my connection ain't so great. So hopefully we're going to be okay in making it through here. All right, so we've got 220 million, which actually rounds up to around 250 because of the fact that there's extra money left over from last year. They are requiring, as I've already been saying, that you have to put your voucher, you have to put your information into the portal in order to request a voucher. Okay, if you win the lottery, you get a voucher. You must have a pre-approved letter from a CalHFA lender, so that's bullet point number 2. And then we will put the voucher number into the system once you get a home in contract. But here's a couple of important things. One applicant must be a California resident. One applicant only must be a first-generation home buyer. That's huge because that was unclear until now. I've got many people ask me, John, there are, my wife and I, my co-signer and I, my co-owner, person cohabitating with me, only one of us is a first-generation home buyer. And the other one, their parents own a home. You qualify for this program. So it does not require everybody to be a first-generation home buyer. Only one applicant needs to meet the rules of a first-generation home buyer. I'm going to repeat really quickly what the rules are for first-generation home buyer. So what it says is that you have not personally been on title, held ownership interest, or been named on a mortgage on a permanent foundation and owned land in the United States in the last 7 years. Let's make this a little bit bigger. Hopefully you guys can read it better. Okay, so a home buyer who has not been on title, has not held ownership interest, or been named on a mortgage to a home on a permanent foundation and owned land in the United States in the last 7 years. And then the second piece is, to the best of your knowledge, whose parents, biological or adoptive, do not have any present ownership interest in a home, or if deceased, whose parents did not have ownership interest in the home at the time of their death in the United States. So very, very good clarification on what these rules are and how we treat the first-generation homebuyer. Income must be less than or equal to the newly published limits. I'm going to show you the limits in one moment. You have the most you can get is $150,000. I've been telling you guys this all along. The most you can get is 150 grand. You can put as much as 5% of your own money if you're taking the full 20%. You can put as much as 5% of your own money plus closing costs, or you can use the entire 20% to pay 15% down and 5% for closing costs. So again, matches exactly what I told you was going to be. And here's something new. They are allowing temporary buy downs. That's huge. I was super excited when I saw that because temporary buy downs were not allowed on the last version. So a temporary buy down says that if rates are at 6.5, we can use some of the Dream for All money to pay for closing costs. And we can say, hey, we're going to lower your interest rate 2% the first year. So we're going to put it at 4.5% the first year. And then it'll be 1% lower the second year, which would be at 5.5%, and then the third year and beyond, it would be at 6.5%. So that is really, really good news when it comes to your ability to get a monthly payment that you are comfortable with. Or you can do a 1-1 or a 1-0. I'll explain all of those down the road. But generally speaking, that's really good news that we can do a temporary buy down. All right, and let's talk about the income limits. So here are the income limits. The link is in the comments down below, so the description, I should say. So if you want to see what the exact income limits are, click the link in the description down below. By the way, I am doing a presentation on this in a few weeks. I think the second week of February. I'll put information about that up in a minute, not yet. But I do want you to be aware of that fact that I'll be doing a webinar giving all of the details on this in early February, but you should get started now. You should get started now. Okay, so here are the income limits. I'll give you an example. In the Bay Area, we were at like $295,000 on the original version of Dream for All. They cut it back to $234,000. Los Angeles was about $185,000. Now Los Angeles, $155,000. That is the most you can earn in Los Angeles County in order to qualify for Dream for All. So this is a critical change that they lowered the income limits. In the Central Valley, you can make $158,000. Let's think about that for a second. What we're basically saying is that you can make more money in San Joaquin County and qualify as low income than you can in Los Angeles County, because you can only make $155,000 in Los Angeles County. You can make $158,000 in San Joaquin County. That's crazy, because prices are significantly higher in Los Angeles County, and it's why CalHFA is concerned that they're not going to have enough uptake. 25% of the state's population is in the Los Angeles region, and they're giving away 25% of this money to people in Los Angeles. But they're going to have a really hard time meeting the rules. So if you're in Los Angeles, or you know somebody in Los Angeles, their chances of getting accepted into the portal are really high. Because if they make under $155,000, there aren't a lot of people in Los Angeles making under $155,000 trying to buy a home. But as a reminder, I've told you already that the system is designed based on where you live at the time you get your acceptance into the portal, but you can buy anywhere in the state. So if you live in the Los Angeles region, you've won the Dream for All lottery, not literally, but you have the best chances of getting accepted, because as long as you meet the income limits, you can move to the Central Valley. You can move somewhere else in the state. We just have to make sure that your employment is going to be portable and that the income is going to be stable. Guys, that's the gist of the information. I scanned the full rule book. There wasn't a whole lot more that changed, but here's a couple of things that you need to know. First and foremost, you need to start the application process now. So if you are a buyer, or if you know a buyer, forward this to them. They need to start the application process with me now, because when the portal opens, we want to know that you are pre-approved and submit that pre-approval letter. That is the most critical piece of information, and we need to get started now. So don't wait for my webinar. Don't wait for anything else. Click up there, start the application process. If you want to schedule an appointment first, no problem. Our contact information is on the website. You can schedule an appointment as well. The second thing is we are doing an informational webinar. So if you're a realtor, or if you know other people that just want to gather information about it, Anna's going to move me over a little bit. There we go. So we are doing a webinar on February 12th from 7 to 8 p.m. I don't even know what day of the week that is. Anyway, on February 12th, we are doing it from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. So click on that QR code or go to californiadreamforall.info to register, and all the details will be populated on that californiadreamforall.info page in the next couple of days. Right now, it only takes you to the registration for the webinar, but we're going to use that same URL to give you all of the details you need to know, share videos with you about how the program is going to work. So use that as your #1 resource. Save this QR code, save the link, californiadreamforall.info, send everybody you know, yourself, your friends, your family, your little sister, the cousin that you don't really like, but you want to be able to help them get a home. Get them connected with me so that I can help them have the best chance to achieve the California Dream using the new California Dream for All down payment assistance program that is launching this spring. Super excited to help all of you. If you have any questions, I can take them right now. Otherwise, I'm going to log off. And if you have questions, if you're watching this recorded, then feel free to post on whatever platform you're watching, and I will respond to those in the future. So it does not look like anybody has any questions. So I appreciate those of you that joined for this impromptu live stream. And remember, start the process now. If you are interested in getting access to this money, only one person who is buying, Rob, I see your question. Give me a second, I'll pull it up. Only one of the borrowers needs to qualify as a first-generation home buyer. That is critical and really, really good information. All right. So Rob says, they mentioned parents, but what if only one parent owns a home and not both in the last 10 years? My definition, or my understanding of their definition, is saying, look, none of your parents can own a home currently. So it's not about the last 10 years. Okay, 10 years is not a rule anymore. I'm going to pull this back up on my screen. I won't bother sharing it with you. But the time frame for your parents is simply, do they own a home right now? And it is not both, it's any of your parents, meaning the one. So if you have two buyers, one of the buyers has to meet all of these criteria, which is, I personally have not owned a home or been on title or on a mortgage in the last 7 years, and my parents do not own a home. I will be on a webinar next week with CalHFA, and I'm going to get some clarification on this exact question, Rob. But my gut says that the thinking is we want to help people who are not going to gain generational wealth from a parent who owns a home. And so if one parent owns a home, then that means, even though the other one doesn't, that one parent that owns a home, when they pass on, you're going to get the wealth from that home. Therefore, you don't need the state's help to become a homeowner because you have a parent that does own a home. That is my interpretation, but I will get clarification on that. All right, F Sharp, thanks for coming back. Seen you a few times. I'm living in the Inland Empire temporarily, but lived in LA County all my life. Any tips to qualify as an LA County resident? Move back. I know where you live based upon where you tell me you live, based upon where your paychecks and bank statements are sent. But they're basically saying where you live now is what matters. And so, move back. You can read between the lines, whatever version you want of that. I'm telling you the rules, and the rules are, if you don't live in the Los Angeles County, and again, it's Los Angeles. My understanding is it's the region, not necessarily the county, and I do not have the geographic limits of where that region ends. But if you don't live within the region that they're looking for, Inland Empire is going to be hard to qualify. I showed these numbers on a webinar the other night that I think you were part of, and the percentage of the population in Inland Empire significantly lower. A lot more people used the first round of Dream for All during the from the Inland Empire, and so that is really important. That is going to help you if you can have residency in the Los Angeles region. All right, Anna asked, do mobile homes count as homes owned by parents? So I'm going to say no if it's not on a permanent foundation and owned land, because they used that definition when they were talking about you personally being a first-time home buyer, and they defined your interest of being a first-time home buyer as being on title, holding interest, or having been named on a mortgage to a home that's on a permanent foundation and owned land. And so if your parents own a home now that is a mobile home that is in a park, then I believe that does not disqualify you. But if it's a mobile home that is on a permanent foundation and owned land, that does disqualify you. The mortgage industry does not consider mobile homes that are in a park as being real estate. We just don't. And so to say you own a home that's a mobile home in a park, we do a whole different type of a loan on those, and they're not considered real estate loans. And so I would say you're safe, Anna, if that is a situation where your parents own a home, a mobile home in a park where they rent the land, then you are still considered a first generation home buyer. All right, those are some really great questions. We've got about a dozen people on here still. So if anybody has any other questions, I'm not going to drag this out too long. Rob says, thanks. I appreciate it, Rob. I am happy to help, guys. Please help me share the word. I'm very knowledgeable on this program. I'm very knowledgeable about loans in general. And I'm looking forward to really taking great advantage of helping you all take great advantage of this program and anybody that you know. Anna says, thank you. Is there a place we can see the new income limits? Yes, they're in the description of where you're watching right now. So you're on YouTube. So if you just look, look below this video and you see the description, we have the link to the income limits in the description of this video. So please go down there and you can see it. F#, I am so glad you found my channel too. Please help me spread the word. Don't keep me a secret. So if you know anybody else, friends, family, share my channel on all of your social media channels. I would really appreciate it. And I really, really appreciate you guys. Anna, thank you. I appreciate being a resource for you and anybody that you know. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Enjoy your day, and we will talk to you all soon. And make sure to start the application process right away, because all lenders are going to have an influx of people. I know I'm going to have a lot of people that are inquiring. We're staffing up to make sure we can take care of this. But the sooner you get started, the more time we have to help you if you have challenges, because we have to be able to give you that pre-approval letter at the time the portal is open. And the portal's only going to be open for about 30 days. My guess, portal's going to open sometime in April. It's going to close sometime in May. That's a guess. They haven't given us a timeline. At one point a few months ago at the board meeting, they said, we're looking at maybe March, April as an opening date. And then a month and a half ago, they said, we think it's going to be pushed back a little bit. It's going to take a little bit longer for that portal to be open. Well, that tells me if it was March, April to open, then maybe it's April or May that it's going to open. That's the best I've got on a timeline, but the faster we start, the more time we have to make sure that you are qualified. You do not want to miss out, especially because I'm not an expert on looking at the state budget, but I dug through the state budget and I see zero money allocated for this program for next year. Okay, it's clear they allocated $500 million last year. They rolled part of that money over, and now that's what we're spending now, but there's $0 allocated for next year. So in the short term, until the state fixes their budget issues, we're not going to have access to this program anytime soon. So now is the time to take advantage of it. Please spread the word, share my channel, and please make sure to start the process as soon as possible, clicking that QR up above. And the last thing I'll end you with is have Anna bring up that screen again that gives you the webinar that we are doing. That webinar is going to be on February 12th from 7 to 8 p.m. I'll be giving live Q&A. So if you have questions, even if you've started the process, that's a great time for you to have live Q&A. I'll have more information at that time to share and be able to talk through different scenarios as well. Everybody, thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have an absolutely wonderful week, and please don't keep me a secret. Thanks.